Morning angle. Hi. If you haven't guessed already, we're going to be talking about the Cornetto trilogy today, and it's going to be full of quotes. I'm so sorry. So, the Cornetto trilogy is a term used for the films Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End. And this is because a cornetto is featured in every single one. So in Shaun of the Dead, it's the strawberry one because of blood. In Hot Fuzz, it's the vanilla regular one because it's blue, like the police. World's End is the mint one because it's the only one left, really. Want anything from the shop? We'll start with Shaun of the Dead. I think this is my favourite zombie film. We're not using the Z word. I think because it does balance like the light and the dark very well. So you have like your really silly comedy moments. You also have your really emotional bits. I'm not going to go into too much detail, don't want to give any spoilers, but like it came out in like 2003, so where have you been? Because obviously where there's zombies, there is a lot of death. So some of the characters have to deal with that, and it does get quite sad. But then something really silly happens after, and it picks you up. And it's never out of place sadness or comedy. It balances really well, and I think Edgar and Simon are very good at doing that, at fitting in the comedy moments at exactly the right time to not make it depressing. I think this is like my perfect zombie film because it's not all intense, but then it's not all silly. Like, zombies are funny, just as a rule. They are a funny device that you can use in a film. So the ones that are really serious and like scary, I'm not particularly keen on. So this is a good balance, but it is very gory. So if you don't like gore, don't watch this film. To be fair though, if you don't like gore, don't watch any zombie film. Then we move on to Hot Fuzz. This is one of my favourite films ever. I don't know if it is my favourite, but it's one of them. For starters, the cast is ridiculous. Like, the amount of huge names in that film and the talent, oh my god. There are no, like, weak links. It's a huge ensemble piece because, I don't want to give spoilers, but let's just say a lot of people are involved in a lot of the things that go on. I think that is the worst description of that film. Shaun of the Dead has a lot of foreshadowing, but this one takes it even further. A lot of like the standout quotes are things that are repeated because the first time that you hear it, it's just like a throwaway thing. Second time that you hear it, it's relevant to the story. No luck catching them swans then. It's just the one swan, actually. And not only do you have all of these really quotable moments, but you have so many visual gags as well. There's so many clever bits that you miss watching it the first time. And I've seen this film probably, I don't know, hundreds of times. And there's still bits that I pick up in the background that are just so clever. And they're not like big and relevant to the story, but it's a cool little Easter egg to still be able to pick up. I find that really refreshing in films, that you can always find something new, no matter how many times you've seen it. My favourite visual gag, I can't really put it into context because it's a spoiler, but there is a moment where the whole police force comes in Riot Squad gear. There's people with like sunglasses and riot helmets with the shields, and this scene, every single shot is someone taking off a pair of glasses or like lifting their helmet or like just somehow removing their headwear, and it's so funny when you realise that that's what it is. Because even that scene gets a little bit like emotionally intense. You're still laughing your head off because people are still taking stuff off. Oh, it's such a quality film. And it's the best one out of the three, definitely. On to The World's End. Now, some people really hate this film, and I don't know why, because I absolutely love it. Again, there is so much foreshadowing or like things written into the script that you don't think about until it happens later. Each pub has a specific name that basically describes the whole story. The first post is the first pub they go to, and then the Old Familiar is the one that looks exactly the same as the first post, and then the next one and the next one and the next one. It tells the story of what happens in that pub. And I don't want to give the spoilers, but it's so clever. If you have seen it and you want to look into it, it's really, really cool. I'll put a link in the description. My favourite part was that when Simon Pegg's character is picking up the rest of the guys to go on this pub crawl, he says he's going to pick them up from High Wycombe station. And I watched it in High Wycombe. So the moment that he said that, the whole cinema went, "Hey!" The only thing with this one is that it tries a bit harder to be quotable because of the success of Hot Fuzz. It's still good and it's still quite quotable, but it's not like everyday quotable. With this one, I feel like it was more fast-paced than the previous ones, because there was so much story that you had to get through to get to these 12 different pubs. And like the dialogue was quite fast as well. I think that kind of makes it harder to be quotable because it's so reliant on the ensemble. So a scene that has some really quotable lines will be bouncing between all the 5 different guys, and that is really, really good script writing. It's just not as fun to not be able to quote it. I think it also relies on like repetition as well, quite a lot, and like the recurring jokes throughout. I think my personal favourite was the that's a good name for a band, you should write that down. Bermuda Rhombus and the Aqua Nazis. Gary King and the Enablers. But I think a lot of it wouldn't work if the cast didn't have such great chemistry together. So the main 5 are Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, as per usual, Martin Freeman, Paddy Considine, one of my absolute faves, love him, and Eddie Marsan. And the chemistry between them is just so good that it makes these like scenes where they're bouncing off each other so easy to listen to, because they gel together so well, and it really feels like they've been friends since they were at school. I think overall, like, with the whole trilogy, it's so stylised and it's so Edgar Wright. Like, if you watch his other stuff, like Scott Pilgrim and Baby Driver, you can really see, like, the Edgar Wright-isms in all of them. All 3 of them as standalone films are very good, but put the 3 of them together and they are fantastic. Thanks for watching. Give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you want more of this. Coming up on Monday at 6 p.m, I have my review of A Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting. This is the new Netflix film with Tom Felton in it, so I'm really excited, and it's going to make me like even more Halloween-y. As always, stay safe, look after yourselves, and I will see you on Monday. Bye!